Hi everyone, welcome to BODHI. My name's Alex Nashton and this is Chris Yates, and today we're going to be moving through a restore and rebuild class, which basically means that we're going to be going through a 45-minute long yin and yoga nidra practice. So for this kind of practice, you're going to want to have a blanket nearby. We'll need that for nidra. And then you're also going to want to have maybe 2 pillows nearby, or couch cushions, anything that you can use to kind of prop yourself up. Once again, when we get into the more nidra part of practice, although I usually find that having something squishy nearby is good for whenever we spend time lunging or kneeling anyway. And then you'll also probably want to have 2 blocks handy. Now, if you don't have blocks at home, you use whatever you've got nearby. So old shoe boxes work. You can also use old DVD sets or even just some really thick textbooks. Any of that will suffice as a block substitute. Now, once you've got those things nearby, you're going to come to a comfortable seated position. I usually sit like this in supported virasana with my knees touching and the tops of my feet on the ground a little bit wider apart. I'm sitting up on a block on the lowest setting, but you might need to kind of prop your seat up on a 2nd block or even a 3rd block if that's uncomfortable for you. And also know that if it doesn't feel good for you to have your knees in this position or to have the tops of your feet in this position, you can just cross your ankles in front of you like Chris is demonstrating. That's totally fine. Once you've got that seat, you'll bring your hands to your thighs, and we'll just take a moment to get grounded and cultivate some present moment awareness before we get into the movement portion of our practice. So come into stillness, close your eyes. Bring your hands to your thighs, and lately I've really been enjoying putting the palms of my hands down. It just feels a little more grounding for me. Let the weight of your palms be heavy on your thighs. Let your shoulders fall away from your ears. Find softness in the lower part of your face, so your jaw hangs heavy, maybe your lips part a little bit. Let the weight of your eyelids hang heavy over your eyes. And all of the tiny little muscles around your eyes soften. And as you step yourself into this easefulness of body, you'll also begin to find an easefulness in your breath. So you let your breath move freely, uninhibited. Which means there's no need to keep your belly button sucked in towards your spine. You can let your belly kind of balloon out as you inhale and very gently contract in as you exhale. You'll notice that the rib cage kind of butterflies open as you breathe in and knits back together towards the spine as you breathe out, and how the chest and the neck will also rise and then fall in rhythm with your breathing. And as the tensions and limitations that inhibit the natural movement of breath and the natural movement of body begin to kind of fall away, you'll let your awareness unfold to all of the realities of this present moment. The realities of what you're hearing and what you're smelling, of what you're seeing behind closed eyelids, be it darkness or slivers of light trying to get in, or any other images or memories that drift across the screen of your mind. And rather than forcing onto this moment the expectations of how you think it should be, you instead hold space for what already is, including all of the emotions that may or may not be present right now. You hold space for your anger, you hold space for your joy, for your sadness, for your giddiness, for your heartbreak, for your laughter, and for whatever reality is here right now. And by first sitting with it, by first acknowledging it, you give it the opportunity to transmute and transform and change, and to pass away, and to move on to the next. So with that very expansive, very accepting and unrestrained state of awareness, you'll begin to invite some movement into your practice. So as you next breathe in, you'll shift a little more weight forward towards your pubic bone. You'll lift your sternum up towards the sky. Let your shoulders draw down your back away from your ears. And then as you exhale, chin curls into your chest. You shift your weight back onto your sitting bones and then send the back of your heart towards the space behind you. And you'll keep going just like that. So as you breathe in, you arch your spine, you come forward in space, shoulders draw down, your back away from your ears. You exhale and round, and you'll keep going just like that. And our goal here is moksha. Our goal is freedom, as it's known in Sanskrit. And so as we find this movement, we're looking to peel away the emotions, the layers, the mental limitations, the physical restraints that keep us stuck in the same ways of being. So in your own time, you'll find whatever sort of spontaneous movement arises, whether that's still cat-cowing your spine or maybe finding a circular kind of motion, stirring your rib cage, stirring your head and neck. And in your own time, you'll land with your chin down towards your chest. You'll blink your eyes open and then come forward onto all fours. So you come forward onto hands and knees. Good, and from here, you'll immediately make your way back into a downward facing dog. So you'll walk your hands out a little further in front of your shoulders. You'll curl your toes under and push your hips up and back like Chris is demonstrating. You'll anchor down through every single part of your hand. The space between your thumb and your first finger roots down, and think about putting a little more weight towards your finger knuckles than you do the heels of your hands. And as you find that pressure down, you'll also find a little more elevation, a little more lift up through the hips. So think about deepening the creases of your hips by sending your pubic bone towards the space between your feet and revolving your sitting bones up towards the sky. And with that revolution, as the hips move higher and higher, your heels might drop down lower in opposition, giving you even more length, giving you even more space along the backs of your legs. And now with that space, you'll begin to walk your hands back to your feet, coming into a forward fold at the back of the mat. But know that this is a yin practice, which means we move pretty slowly and we hold our poses for extended periods of time. So you don't have to make this the most intense forward fold that you've done all week. It can actually be really, really gentle because we're going to be spending so long in it. So first, make sure that your feet are inner hip distance apart. If you need to measure that, you can take your two fists side by side between the highest part of each inner arch. Once you've got that right proportion, once you've got that right distance, also be sure that your knees are not knocking in towards each other, but that instead your knees stay pulling apart so they're directly over over the ankles. With that, you find a little more bend in your knees. Let your upper body drip down so the back of your head releases towards the ground. And then you can hang on to opposite elbows or opposite upper arms here. Chris likes to hold on to the backs of his calves, and you might choose to do that as well. But once you've got it, you'll think about just very lazily lifting your sitting bones up higher towards the sky as your upper body releases towards the ground. So the back of the neck stays long. You're not looking forward here. The hamstrings work to lift up as the upper body drips down. Continue to breathe. And you might also find that in this shape, some movement kind of spontaneously arises, maybe a kind of swaying from side to side in the upper body, or maybe even just shifting your weight towards your right foot a little bit more, and then your left foot a little bit more, kind of toying with your balance just a bit. Now, as you feel ready, you'll bend into your knees even more. You'll take your hands to the ground in front of you. You'll walk your hands forward and come into another downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. From this dog, you'll breathe in and reach your right leg straight up and back behind you. You'll open up your hip, you'll bend your knee, so you're dropping your right heel towards your left butt. It doesn't have to be perfect, you can make it a little lazy here. And then with your next exhale, you'll bring your right knee forward and you'll take it behind your right wrist. So your entire lower leg, your shin drops down to the ground. Now release your left knee down and untuck your left toes for a moment and shift a little more weight over towards your right side butt, towards your right side glutes. So you're literally sitting off to the right side. Good. Now, as you sit off to the right side, I want you to bring your right shin bone forward so it's parallel to the top of the mat. In other words, your shin, your right leg is coming to a 90-degree bend in front of you. And then you'll find a little more weight on the inseam of the left leg, and you'll bend into that left leg. So your left heel moves over towards the right side of the mat a little bit more. Yes, exactly. Now take your hands to frame your right leg. As you inhale, work to lift your chest up a bit higher. And then as you exhale, think about revolving your right side chest back and pushing your left side chest forward in space. So you find a little more squareness in your shoulders here. Now as you exhale, you'll begin to walk yourself forward, laying your upper body over your right leg and maybe releasing your forearms down to the floor or onto blocks. But also know that it's quite all right if you just keep your hands on the ground, that you don't have to release very far forward or down. And if you've taken class with me before, you probably know that I personally love to use the support of the blocks. I find that it works well as scaffolding underneath the forehead and underneath my chest, just to give my upper body the opportunity to relax back down towards the ground even more. Because in a yin practice, we're working with the joint space of the body rather than just the muscle. We do want to be sure that the muscles aren't working so much. So if you're finding any place of gripping, if you're finding any place of tension, of holding on, see if you can let that go. See if you can find space for the upper body to relax and release down with no resistance to gravity, with no bracing or clenching or trying to stay away from the floor. And you'll probably notice here quite a bit of sensation in your right hip. Ideally, it won't be so much sensation that you need to clench up or brace yourself. But enough that you do feel confronted by the shape, that you do feel confronted by the pose. And enough that you can give yourself permission to release into it and unfold your awareness to the present moment once again. to find a container for everything that arises here. To find a container for all of the physical sensations and all of the emotions. You'll take a big breath in here. And a long breath out. You'll find some pressure down through the palms of your hands, and then you'll slowly start to ease yourself back up. And as you ease your body up, you'll shift a little more weight onto your right hip than you were before, and begin to swing both legs out in front of you. And as your legs come forward in space, you'll keep your left leg extended, but you'll connect the sole of your right foot to your inner left thigh. You'll make sure that your blocks are still handy if you were using your blocks last time around. And then let your legs relax here. So once you've found the initial connection of the sole of the right foot on the inner left thigh, like a tree shape, you let the left toes kind of relax out to the left, so there's no firmness, no tension in this left thigh. But you will at first find length and space in the upper body, so take your fingertips beside you, push down through your fingertips to elevate your chest, take a breath in. And then as you exhale, still keeping your upper body relaxed, you'll walk yourself forward towards your left leg. When you get to that place, when you get to that edge where you can't maintain a left leg anymore, you'll let everything in your upper body round and relax down. And again, you might want to use the supportive block or blocks underneath your forehead. You can use that as a little additional support, enabling the back body to release. So make sure that there's no gripping in the back of your neck, that you're really giving your head permission to fall here. And that you're really giving your lower back the opportunity to fully and completely release in this shape. And that as you notice the impulse to find control again, to find force, to find pressure, you instead choose over and over again to let it go. We'll spend just a little more time here. Now, as you feel ready, you'll press down through the palms of your hands. And you'll slowly begin to ease yourself back up. You'll bend into your left knee, so you're coming into Sukhasana, you're coming into an easy seat position. And then you'll take your right leg forward and swing it around and back behind you. So moving into the other side, you'll shift a little more weight onto your left hip, a little more weight onto your left butt cheek. And then you'll work your left shin forward so it's parallel to the top of your mat, so your left leg can come into a 90-degree bend. You'll bend into your right knee once it's back behind you to a place where you feel comfortable, and then you'll find fingertips down beside you on the floor. You'll work to lift your chest up, and then you'll square your chest to the front of the mat, which might mean that you need to find a little more twist in the uppermost part of your back. As you find that twist, as you find that lift with length, with space, you'll begin to ease yourself down. And then I like a block underneath my chest and underneath my head for a little extra support. You'll let your arms get heavy beside you. Let your fingertips relax. Find any part of you that is still clenched in restraint, that is still clenched in opposition. Can you continuously choose to let go? And let your attention unfold into the realities of this moment. So you give space for all that is happening right now. And as you feel ready, you'll begin to deepen your breath. You'll find pressure down through the palms of your hands, activation throughout your arms, and you'll slowly begin to walk yourself up. You'll set your block aside, you'll shift your way over onto your left hip and swing your right leg around in front of you. Once your legs are extended out in front, you'll bring the sole of your left foot to your inner right thigh. So once again, you establish that tree-like shape. And rather than pointing or flexing your right foot, you just enable your right leg to fully and completely relax out to the right. And as it does, you'll dig your fingertips into the ground beside you, find length, find space in your spine and in the uppermost parts of your body. And with that space, you'll begin to walk yourself forward. When you get to the point where you can't maintain length anymore, let everything in your upper body relax and release down. Let the back of your neck lengthen, let your head be heavy. Your fingertips get light. Your forehead supported by something, be it the ground or your knee or a block. You give yourself the opportunity to be carried here. And by creating that external support, that external carriage for yourself, you enable the rest of the body to release even deeper. So just how much can you let go here? Can you let go a little bit more? Can you give yourself permission to accept everything that is here for you right now? The full spectrum of emotion, your own aliveness in this moment. I'll give you just a little more time here. Now, as you feel ready, you'll press down through the palms of your hands and slowly start to ease yourself up again. Once you're upright, you can take the soles of both of your feet to the ground so your knees are bent in front of you. You'll take the palms of your hands to the crook of your knees, to your knee pits, and then hanging onto the backs of your legs, you'll slide yourself down onto your back one vertebra at a time. Once you're down there, you'll make sure that you have adequate support underneath your body for Shavasana, for your final resting shape. So for me, that usually means something underneath my knees, like a pillow or a bolster. I also like to cushion the back of my head with a pillow. And then our bodies will lose heat if we spend long enough relaxing in Shavasana, so it's nice to cover up with a blanket as well. Now, once you have that coverage, once you have that support, you'll let the weight of your eyelids hang heavy over your eyes. Let the muscles of your face unlock. And we'll transition into our yoga nidra practice. If you've never practiced nidra with me before, well, first and foremost, you're in for such a treat. It's my favorite kind of meditation. I think mainly because you get to do it lying down in Shavasana, and I think so many of us spend all day long going and going and going and going, and we live in a culture that doesn't really give us time to rest during the day. And so in a nidra practice, we are teaching our bodies how to fully and deeply rest. We are teaching our nervous systems how to rest while we still are awake and alert. And in doing so, we have the opportunity to rewire our nervous systems to naturally and more frequently shift into this state of ease, into more of a parasympathetic nervous system response as we are transitioning through the course of our day. And so the more time you spend here on the mat dedicating yourself to these meditative and mindful practices, the more benefit you reap in the time you spend off of the mat as well. And so they say that 20 minutes of yoga nidra has the equivalent effect on the mind and the body as 2 hours of sleep. And so the benefit that we gain here extends far beyond the small window of time we have together on the mat. You might notice that you actually fall asleep in the practice, and that's okay. You probably need it if you do fall asleep. But you'll hold the intention to remain aware through the entire process. And in that awareness, you begin to grow your attention more subtle and refined and feel the pulsation of breath kind of rippling through your body as you inhale and as you exhale, like a water droplet being moved into a small pool of water. After the initial impact, there are these waves that ripple outward, that extend outward in every direction. And so as you feel into the ebb and flow of your breath, can you not only feel its point of contact, your nostrils, your chest, your lungs, your rib cage, your belly, can you also feel the way your breath moves your neck, the way it moves the musculature of your face, the way it moves your skull plates, your shoulders, your pelvic bowl, your pelvic floor? Can you feel the way your breath moves the soles of your feet? So distant and so far away from the breath, and yet so completely connected and impacted by it. And as you step into this interconnectedness, can you feel the distinguishing boundaries of your body beginning to dissipate? So you're not just an arm, you're not just a leg, not just a torso, a face, but this being that exists in wholeness and oneness. Everything interconnected. And with that feeling of interconnectedness, we'll shift into a rotation of consciousness where I'll call out different parts of the body. And you don't have to move or change these parts, just notice what you feel in each part that I call out. And start by sensing your right hand, your right thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger. Feel the palm of your right hand. Feel the back of your right hand, your right wrist, right forearm, elbow, upper arm. Move your awareness through your right shoulder and feel your right armpit, right side rib cage, right side waist. Feel the right side of your pelvis, your right hip, top of your right thigh, and right knee. Draw your awareness through your shin. Feel your ankle. Heel of your right foot. Sole of your right foot. Top of your right foot. And all 5 toes of your right foot. Feel all 5 toes of your right foot. All 5 toes. Now shift your awareness to your left side body. And very specifically, feel your left thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky. Feel the palm of your left hand, the back of your left hand, left wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm. Move your awareness through your left shoulder. Feel your left armpit, left side rib cage, left side waist. Feel the left side of your pelvis, left hip, top of your left thigh, left knee, shin, ankle, heel of your left foot, sole of your left foot, top of your left foot, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and fifth toe. Feel all 5 toes of your left foot. And then draw your awareness down into the back of your body and simultaneously feel the soles of both of your feet. Feel both of your heels, both calves, the backs of both knees. Feel the backs of both thighs, the entire back of your pelvis, your lower back, middle back, and upper back. Feel the back of your neck, back of your head, crown of your head, right side of your head, left side of your head, right side of your face, left side of your face, right side of your neck, left side of your neck, right side of your chest, left side of your chest, your belly. Become aware of the movement of breath in your belly and begin to count each cycle of breath backwards, starting with the number 11. So you'll inhale and exhale 11. You'll inhale, you'll exhale 10, and so on, and so on, and so on. If you lose count, go back and start over again at the number 11. And now you'll let go of your count wherever you are. Begin to deepen your breath. Find some movement in your hands and in your feet again. Begin to wiggle your fingers, begin to wiggle your toes, start to wake your body back up. Whenever you feel ready, you can roll over onto one side, whichever side you'd like. And slowly begin to push yourself up to sit. Bring the palms of your hands to touch in a prayer at the center of your chest. Release your chin down. And thank yourself for taking the time to show up to this practice today. Thank you for being a part of this community, for doing the internal work. Namaste.